After the success that Marvel Studios have had with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a shared continuity leading up to the Avengers, they decided to make a television spin-off following S.H.I.E.L.D., the spy organization that has appeared in said movies, following a team of agents led by Agent Phil Coulson. Now, what is my opinion on this show? Well, now that the show is coming back from their holiday break, I felt like it was a very good time to discuss it. Now, to put it lightly, this show was really off to a rough start. Now, with the television pilot, it was pretty much like when I saw Arrow. Kind of decent, had some potential, decided to give it a few more episodes. Like, if this is how I reacted to the first season of Arrow. Huh. Oh. Aha. Oh. Now, this is my reaction to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really hate to say this, but at the beginning this show was incredibly boring to me. I mean, a lot of the stories were so forgettable. It was kind of like talking to the man in black. It was like, what just happened? And I think a big problem is that they didn't invest a lot in the characters. I mean, a lot of the plots didn't revolve around the agents themselves. Even worse, there's this really big cast of main characters, and you didn't get to see a lot of them as, individuals. Another problem is that they really use the fact that it's a spin-off of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a big selling point. The pilot episode starts off with this shop window with action figures of the Avengers. That's kind of like making fun of the viewer, like, haha, you losers! That's the only thing you're gonna see of them on this show. Having this set in the same world as the Avengers and the other movies is to the show's disadvantage and benefit at the same time. If you expected this to sort of feature members of the Avengers, sucks to be you. If you like the fact that it's set in the same universe and they are using some elements of the movies and even some elements of the Marvel comic books, this might be an enjoyable show if you're not awfully disappointed by the lack of Avengers. Nick Fury appeared as a surprise at the ending credits of the second episode, which might have felt a little desperate, but it was kind of fun to see Samuel L. Jackson, or Director Fury, chew Coulson's head off for things that happened in that episode. Let's talk about the characters in the show. I would like to rank them from my favorite character to my least favorite character. And let's start with Phil Coulson himself. I mean, he already showed up in 4 movies before this show, so it's not that hard to realize why he is the most fleshed out character. I mean, we've already seen that he is pretty, serious about his job, but he has a bit of a lighter side, threatening to tase Tony Stark while watching Super Nanny, and he has an appetite for donuts. That makes him quite likable, but he's not goofy like Darcy in the Thor movies. Now, I actually happen to like Darcy, but, she's not in charge of a group of agents keeping the world safe. She's just a comic relief. Coulson is a boss, a leader, so he can't be too silly like David Brent in The Office. I actually disliked the fact that he was being brought back despite dying in the Avengers, because I felt it would, ruin the fact that he sacrificed himself standing up to an Asgardian god. despite having no powers, and that pisses the Avengers off so much that they go after Thor and kick his green and golden ass. Then again, we get to see a lot of Coulson's vulnerable side. He doesn't know quite what happened to him after he got speared like a pig. Is he even really Phil Coulson? And if he is, what did they do to him exactly? I mean, this is a very sore spot for him, and I like that they have been bringing it up every now and then. It's probably the best part of the show, this whole mystery. After Coulson, we have Agent Melinda May, played by Ming-Na Wen, and she's pretty cool. I mean, she's a very quiet type. She doesn't say much unless it's something very important. She does her job, but doesn't necessarily get very personally invested with her co-workers. But she is really badass. She does a lot of fighting. She doesn't like fighting, however, and there are some very serious reasons for that, which they explore later in the show. And forgive me for sounding horribly shallow for saying this, because I definitely am, but I have to admit that Ming-Na Wen looks incredibly beautiful. I mean, I realize that there is quite an age gap between me and her, but I have to say, she don't look too bad. Not bad at all. Then there's Agent Grey Ward, who I have to admit is a bit of a tight ass. But here is the thing, he chose a job where he's protecting people and saving lives, so he deserves a lot of respect for that. He might be a little too blunt with his co-workers, and yeah, kinda grumpy, but I still like him a lot. Especially if you compare him to the 3 other characters I'm going to mention, because he feels a lot like a kindergarten teacher with them around. Next we have Gemma Simmons, the female half of Fitzsimmons, and also the nicer half, and quite frankly the better half. She's a little mousy without being too wimpy. She really likes to help out, and she aims to please a lot. I think she's a very warm and sweet person. And of course we have Fitz, who I like to think of as kind of a small dog trying to pick a fight with a much bigger dog, at least in relation to Agent Ward. Because I think he has kind of an inferiority complex. He gets quite crass with Ward for some reason, tries to pick a fight with him, which I felt was very annoying, but I think it is that he feels kind of underappreciated. They don't recognize what he brings to the group. And at the bottom of this list we have Sky, who is this political activist who is trying to bring the system down, get the truth out, and bloody blah 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 blah. God. It's just that she is so incredibly annoying. She's arrogant and full of herself, at least at the beginning. But then it turns out that, well, she's trying to find out who her parents are, and it's related to S.H.I.E.L.D. So, you know, knowing that she has some personal issues kind of brings it all in a different light. It's not like she's just this pain in the ass trying to get attention or does more damage than good. I don't really love her by now, but after they reveal these personal things, it's gotten a little better, I have to say. Now, originally I was just going to talk about the characters because I felt like the plots were so... yeah, is the best way to describe it, really. But then came this episode, or BZZT, in which Gemma Simmons is infected with this alien virus from the Chitauri. By the way, that's a much better way to use the Chitauri than they did in the Avengers, where they were just Loki's goons. When they find out that she has this highly fatal virus, everybody's freaking out, including her, and she's the only one who can find a cure for this. No pressure, right? And she thinks that she has found a cure, she tries it, seems like it doesn't work. Then it turns out it did work, but what happens then? She jumps off their jet plane. And commercial break. I was so absolutely sure that they had killed her off, but after the commercials end, Fitz hands over the cure to Ward, who grabs a parachute. He jumps off the plane, grabs Gemma, parachute out, save! A lot of people might think that was kind of a cop-out, making it look like she was going to die, but she survived under such miraculous circumstances. But, you know, I think that was awesome, because at this point we got to see how much everybody cared for each other. I don't think any of them really were aware of this until now. And I think that brought the group a lot closer, now that there is a lot more camaraderie. You know, when you have such a big group as the main characters in a show, it's very important to have them sort of, they don't have to be super friends exactly, but you know, it's nice to see them get along. And since then, it's been rather decent. I mean, there was this episode tying into Thor the Dark World. Okay, it tied in very loosely to Thor the Dark World, but it was a very enjoyable episode. It had Peter McNichol as a very interesting character, and now we really got to see what was Grey Ward's problem, what's the bug up his ass, so to speak. And well, he had a very, very nasty childhood, it appears. So there's no wonder that he's not all jolly and giggles. After that, Melinda May's backstory, we got into why she is the cavalry and why she doesn't like being referred to as the cavalry. Turns out that she was a lot more perky, happy. Back then she was kind of a prankster and such, that something really nasty happened where she had to do something that's pretty much haunting her since then. Okay, so besides that, the show hasn't been that perfect, but I feel like it's on the right track now. Now, the ratings haven't been all that super great. I hope the ratings improve so that the show stays on the air. I mean, it would be terribly sad if they only gave this one season and then it's over. It always depresses me when a show gets like only 1 or 2 seasons and then poof, gone. Also, I would really like to see these characters make some guest appearances in some Marvel movies, like maybe in the next Captain America movie, or hell, maybe even Guardians of the Galaxy or the Avengers 2, something like that. Or even better yet, I would love to see these characters in the comic books, like Jimmy Olsen, first appeared in a radio show. Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, first showed up in the Batman show from the 60s. My gut instinct says that we shouldn't expect Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr. or Mark Ruffalo in any episode, at least not very soon. Although I would really like to see Cobie Smulders as Maria Hill on full time, now that How I Met Your Mother is ending. To put it short, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not a perfect show, has some fun moments, interesting characters that definitely can be explored a lot more. There's a lot of potential in there that I hope won't get all wasted. It's all up to you, Marvel and ABC. Is it ABC that's airing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?